In this video, I'm going to show you how to do an oil change on this Jeep Renegade with a 2.4 liter engine. Let's get started. From underneath the vehicle, you'll notice that on the passenger side of your engine compartment, you have your engine oil pan. This right here is your 13mm drain plug. Put a socket on it or a wrench, break it free, and remove it. Of course, when you drain the oil, make sure you have a collection bucket ready to catch it. As I'm unscrewing this, I'm keeping pressure on it so that when it's on the last thread, I can control when the oil starts flowing out. Right about here, I'm going to let go. It's going to go right into my collection bucket. I'm going to let this all drain. Towards the front of the oil pan, you'll see the oil filter. Now use an oil filter wrench if needed. If not, you should be able to just grab this and unthread it counterclockwise. Sometimes these are extra tight though, so I'm going to use my wrench and break it free. There we go. Have a drain pan ready because oil will leak out from here once you're done unthreading it and the seal breaks free. There we go. Carefully remove it the rest of the way. If your engine recently ran, be careful because this is going to be very hot. There we go, let that all drain. I prefer to pre-fill my oil filters, so I'm going to use some 0W20 engine oil, which is what this vehicle takes. And with the oil filter sitting upright on my workbench, I'm going to fill it all the way to the top, let the oil soak into the filter material, and you don't have to get it completely full. I'm going to take a clean glove, get a little bit of the clean oil, and apply it to the gasket. Speaking of this gasket, you want to make sure the old one didn't stick onto the oil filter housing. In my case, it did not, otherwise you'd be double gasketing this. This is pretty much full at this point, so let's put it on. Inspect the oil filter housing area, wipe it down with a clean rag, and like I said earlier, make sure the old gasket or the old O-ring didn't stick on here. In my case, it did not, so we are good to go. I can take the new oil filter, thread it on to the threads here. It should thread on smoothly, just like so. Let it go all the way up. And then once it bottoms out, which is about here, give it about half a turn. You don't need to go more than that. You definitely do not need to use an oil filter wrench to tighten this. As long as it's snug, you are good to go. Wipe off the area where the drain plug goes. It's pretty much done draining at this point. I know it's still dripping a little bit, but you know, it's going to drip for hours at this point. So I'm going to call this done. Thread the drain plug back on. And once you bottom it out, snug it. The torque for this is 20 foot-pounds. That's it right there. It does not need to be extremely tight, just snug. Under the hood, on the passenger side, you'll see the oil fill cap right here. We're going to turn it counterclockwise and remove it. Set it aside. If you would like to use a funnel, go ahead. I have this homemade funnel that I made here. It's usually a little difficult since it's recessed in there to not spill. And then we're going to add 5.5 quarts of 0W20 oil. Now, if you pre-filled your oil filter, that counts towards the 5.5 quarts. So I have single quart bottles with measurements on the side here. So I'm going to make sure that I put exactly 5.5. All right, I'm on my last quart. I added 5, so on this one, I'm just going to do half of a quart. Got to check it periodically. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect as long as you're close. That's good right there. If you used a funnel, remove it, put the oil fill cap back on, wipe off any excess oil that may have spilled. There we go. Now, a little bit forward is going to be your engine oil dipstick. Remove it. As you remove it, clean it off. It's not going to get you an accurate reading right off the bat. So at this point, once it's cleaned off, when we dip it back in, you'll see these marks here. You want to be pretty much at the full line, which is at the top of the marks. If you're anywhere below, you're going to want to add some. If you're too far over, you're going to need to drain some, but 5.5 quarts should get you pretty much spot on. So dip this back in all the way down and pull it back out. As you can see, it's spot on to the full mark here. So at this point, I'm good to go. I'm going to dip this back in. You can turn the engine on, let it run for a little bit, check it again if you want. But there you have it. To reset the maintenance reminder or the oil change light, whether it's already displayed on the dash or not, what you want to do is turn the ignition to the on position. Now you want to tap the gas pedal 3 times within 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, all the way down. Shut the ignition off and then turn the vehicle on. What this will do is it will completely reset the oil change reminder. So if you had the message displayed on the dash, it would go away. I didn't have it already displayed because it wasn't quite due yet, but it is reset at this point. So there you have it. Oil change is done.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.